Today we're going to learn about integers and the number line. We need to start out with a good foundation of the number line, what the number line is and where the numbers are placed on a number line before we can truly understand what integers are. Positive numbers are numbers that are greater than 0, and they can be written with a positive sign. Negative numbers are less than 0 and can be written with a negative sign. Okay, so I have two number lines here, and I'm going to point out to you which numbers are your positive numbers and which ones are your negative numbers. Now, I'm going to start at 0, and I'm looking to the right of 0, and all the numbers to the right of 0 are positive numbers. So, on the right side of the number line, we have positive numbers. It is positive to be right. So when we are correct on a paper, and that's just a little check mark that I put in there, that's a positive thing. Okay, on the left side of 0, we have negative numbers. So I sometimes think of leftovers that Mom cooked from the night before. When my mom used to tell me we were having leftovers, I wasn't all that excited. So I thought leftovers were negative. Left is always least. So these are your negative numbers on the left. And keep in mind, left is least. Okay, let's take a look at the vertical number line that we have right here. So as we move up the number line from 0 and above 0, we have positive numbers. As we move towards heaven, things get very positive. As we move in the other direction, things get negative. So down is negative, and up towards heaven is positive. Opposites. Opposites are two numbers that are the same distance apart on opposite sides of the number line. We have a number line here, and let's take a look at some of the opposites that we can find on this number line. First, I have this number line numbered counting by 2's. So on this side we have 2, 4, 6, 8, and on the left side we have -2, -4, -6, -8. So 2 is 2 away from 0, and -2 is the same distance away. 4 is the same distance as -4. 6 and -6 are the same distance. And 8 and -8 are the same distance. They're just on opposite sides of the number line. Remember, hot and cold are opposites, left and right are opposites, and here we have the left side of the number line of 0 and the right side of 0. And opposites are the same distance from 0 on the left or the right side of the number line. Here we have a vertical number line. So let's find some opposites on our vertical number line. We have 10 and -10, 20 and -20, 30 and -30. They are the same distance apart from 0 above and below 0 on the number line. Absolute value. Absolute value is a number's distance from 0. How far away is a number from 0? That is called the absolute value of a number. Let's take a look. We have -7, and we have two slanted lines to the left and to the right of -7. Those two slanted lines are called an absolute value symbol. Here we have the absolute value symbol of -7, and we're going to find the distance of -7 from 0. -7 is simply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Excuse me. 5, 6, 7. Jumps away from 0. So the absolute value or distance of negative 7 from 0 is just 7. An absolute value is always going to be a positive number because distances are never negative. Let's look at our vertical number line here. We have the absolute value of negative 3. The absolute value of negative 3 is simply 3. And looking at the number line, I can count negative 3. How far away from 0 is negative 3? It's 1, 2, 3 jumps from 0. Integers are the entire set of whole numbers and their opposites. Okay, let's take a look at what this means. Get real. How do we use integers in the real world? Well, first of all, we use them when we're looking at a thermometer. Thermometers contain positive and negative numbers on them. This thermometer is measuring negative 10 degrees. We use integers when we write a check or when we get a check. If I were to get a $100 check, that would be a positive 100. If I have to write a $100 check to LCA, that is a negative 100. Over here to the right, I have a vertical number line that contains, I have a parachute man, a sailboat, and a shark. My parachute man is about 500 feet above sea level. My sailboat is at sea level. And my shark is negative 200 feet below sea level. So these are all representations of how we use integers. Based on the above definition, which of the following are integers? Now remember, integers are whole numbers and their opposites. So 7 is a whole number and its opposite would be negative 7. 12 is a whole number and its opposite would be negative 12. So it's always going to be a whole number or its opposite. So let's see, let's start with 9. 9 is definitely a whole number. So yes, I could circle that and say that it is an integer. 3 1/2. 3 1/2 is not a whole number, so no, that's not going to be an integer. 10. 10 is a whole number, so yes, that would be an integer. Negative 6. Well, the opposite of negative 6 is 6, and 6 is a whole number. Negative 6 is its opposite, so yes, this would be an integer. 1,000 is a whole number. Yes, it's an integer. 9/11 is a fraction. So no, it is not an integer. Fractions and decimals are not integers. Positive and negative numbers are going to be your integers. What about 0? What about me? 0 is a whole number. 0 is an integer, but 0 is neither positive nor negative. He does not carry a positive or negative sign. Just comparing integers. Let's compare negative 2 and 4. First of all, when you compare anything, you use a greater than, less than, or equal to symbol. The way that you know the difference between these symbols is that when you run your finger across them from left to right, in the direction in which you read, what do we come to first? I come to the larger end of this symbol, so I know that that's the greater than symbol. I come to the smaller end of this symbol first, so I know that this is the less than symbol. Negative 2 and 4. I'm going to graph negative 2. And to graph a number, you just simply put a circle, a dot on the number line right at that number. Negative 2, and I'm going to graph 4. So I'm going to put a point there at 4. And I'm looking to see which one is farther to the right. That's going to be your greater number. The one to the left, remember left is least, is your least number. So negative 2 is less than 4. Compare negative 3 and 5. Here is negative 3, and I'm going to graph it in negative 5. And to the left, the least number is negative 5. It's further away. If I owe $5 and I owe $3, I would rather owe 3. 5 is, I owe more money if I owe $5. So 5 is the least, negative 3 is a greater number because negative 3 is to the right, and negative 5 is to the left, and left is always least. Ordering integers. Order negative 6, 12, 9, 0, and negative 2 from least to greatest. I'm first going to graph these on the number line. Negative 6, 12, 9 comes between 8 and 10, 0, negative 2. From least to greatest, left is least. I got to keep this in mind. And I say negative 6 is first, negative 2, 0, 9, and 12. Point I would like for you to push pause and go ahead and try these out. All right. Number 1, graph each integer on the same number line and write a scenario to represent each. So I'm going to put 4, negative 4, and 7 on this number line. Negative 4 is going to be to the left, 7 to the right of 0. Here's 0. Let's do 2. Let's say 2, 4, 6, 8 on this side. And here's my 7. And then 2, negative 2, and 4, negative 4. Okay, so I've graphed those on the number line, and by putting a dot, I graph them. Writing a scenario to represent them, I owe $4 and I have $7. I owe $4. I have 7. Right. On another number line, graph 3 and its opposite. So I'm drawing a number line, and I'll put 0 in the middle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Remember, the opposite is the number on the opposite side of the number line that has the same absolute value, same distance from 0. So negative 3 and 3. Number 3, compare 3 and 1. 3 is greater than 1 because it's farther to the right. Negative 9 and negative 5. Negative 5 is greater than negative 9 because it's further to the right. The absolute value of negative 4, which is its distance from 0, is 4. The absolute value of 3 is 3. Which one is greater? 4. Negative 7's absolute value is 7. And then we have 6. Which one's greater, 7 or 6? 7. Excuse me, that's a greater than symbol. All right, negative 4 and 7. Okay, there's no absolute value symbol, so I just look at the two numbers at their given value. Negative 4 is to the left. Left is least. Negative 7 is to the right. Right is positive. That's a greater number. So 7 is greater. Negative 4 is least. Negative 4 is less than 7. I have 8 in the absolute value of negative 9. The absolute value of negative 9 is 9, and 9 is greater than 8. 8 is less than 9. Order from greatest to least. 7, negative 6, 3, negative 2, and the absolute value of negative 5. Again, I could draw out a number line. I want to look to see which one is farthest to the right, and that's going to be my greatest number. So I'm also going to go ahead and write out the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. And farthest to my right would be 7, then 5, or the absolute value of negative 5, which is 5. And next I would say 3, negative 2, and negative 6.